Welcome to the lesson on the foundations of constructions. In this lesson, we will discuss some of the basics of constructions and what we can do to construct simple figures and shapes. Now, a construction is a drawing of angles, shapes, or lines using only a straight edge and a compass. With constructions, we can virtually make any shape or figure, as well as copy already made figures. We'll begin with constructing some basic figures and the process for copying those figures. So we'll start off with the simple idea of copying lines. Now what you see in front of you are some of the basic constructing tools: a protractor and a straight edge, a compass, and of course a pencil. And it helps if you have an eraser for that pencil. So we'll go ahead and take our straight edge part of our protractor with a pencil and draw a line. And we'll give that line two concrete endpoints, and we'll title those endpoints A and B. Now we'll make another line. This one we'll make longer, of an indefinite length, and we'll call it A prime for the second one. And what we'll do is we'll open up our compass from A to B, and we'll keep that distance. We'll put the compass at A prime, and we'll make a quick arc. Now, because I have the distance from A to B, quick arc I make on A prime segment gives me a point for B prime. So now what I've made is two exact segments, and that arc will allow me to make as many possible segments as I want. Each segment that I make that connects to the arc gives me the exact same length. Now let's discuss copying angles. So we'll go to another open space on our paper. I'll draw a point and make that point the vertex of the new angle that I'm going to draw. Doesn't matter how wide or how small, but it is good to pick a nice neat angle in the middle. So I'll call that vertex A. I'll put point B up top and then point C down here at the bottom, and I'll continue the angle for a little bit. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but first by constructing another ray that I'm going to build the angle from. And I'll call, of course, this vertex X. You could call it A prime if you wanted. Now I'm going to carefully measure distance between A and C and make another copied arc of that distance from X to another point, but make the arc very, very wide. I can call this secondary point Z, which will correspond to C. And now I want to figure out how wide my angle should be. So I'll open up my compass from C to B, and then with my compass at point Z, I'll make a second arc. Now it's very important to make note of the intersection of those arcs, and I can call that point Y. And now by connecting point X through point Y, I will actually have created an angle of the same exact measure. These angles are indeed congruent. So now let's move on and talk about how I can copy a triangle. So now we're talking about copying an enclosed figure, a shape. So I'll start off by drawing any three segments that connect to one another and calling it a triangle. And I'll go ahead and title each vertex of that triangle A, B, and C. Now what I'll carefully want to do is to just make a random line of a good size. Probably want to make sure it's longer than any of the three sides of my triangle. We'll call this A prime since we're doing another straight copy. And then I will carefully open my compass from A to B and go to A prime and make another very, very wide arc up top. So I'm looking to copy A to B, then I will open my compass from A to C and make a second arc down here at the bottom that intersects to the other line. Those arcs might look very close to the same, but now what I've done from A to C, I've made A prime to C prime. Lastly, I want to find that distance between B and C so that I can connect my B prime. Once I find that distance, put my compass at C prime and make my last arc. That intersection of the arc will give me the exact point where on the original triangle, B is from A and B is from C, so that B prime is the same distance away from C prime, and that B prime is the same distance away from A prime. All the sides are congruent of these two triangles, and so are the two angles.